Welcome to the Siddha-Vetha webinar series. Today, the topic is my experience with holistic healing. And the speaker is Jagdish. Jagdish is a practitioner of yoga and holistic self-healing using different wellness methods, including energy healing, acupressure, meditation, pranayama, and asanas. Jagdish was inducted into self-healing by Professor Ravindran Kannan in 2010. He continued to practice and learn from mentors such as Prema Mysore, Nitin Pandya, Praveen Ravindran, and Dr. Shan Lakshmanan. He has been since practicing and assisting Professor Ravindran and Prema Mysore in conducting wellness workshops in various cities across USA. The wellness workshops are based on Dr. Devendra Vora's techniques, which is considered as the building block and fundamentals of acupressure, which is no low-cost, zero side effects, drugless, non-invasive, and effective therapy for prevention, diagnostic, maintenance, and healing of various energy imbalances in human body complex, mind-body complex. Originally from Bangalore, India, Jagdish resides in Northern Virginia along with his family. He's an information technology professional having about 20 years of experience and continues to support numerous federal, state, and commercial organizations in US, primarily serving the health, education, and housing sectors. He serves on the board of Sanatana, Minnesota. It's a 501c3 charitable and educational nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and increasing the awareness of ancient science and overall individual well-being that includes training, research, documentation, preservation, and dissemination of various self-healing modalities as documented in the scriptures and experienced by our sages and seers. So I welcome Sri Jagdish to start with the video talk. Thanks. I don't think so. We hear you. Maybe you can. Is everybody having the problem, or does everybody have the same problem? You can just chat button. Can you hear? Check this. 301. Okay, I'll try to unmute. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was on audio on phone and video on the computer.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Again, as Sean sir introduced, my name is Jagdish Gangama, resident of Virginia. I'm trying to see how many of you folks are here that I am familiar with. I think there are few names that I'm familiar with. But anyway, so today I'm going to talk about my experience with healing. Again, I was introduced to spirituality by Professor Ravindran in 2010. The one thing that Professor told me, the very first thing that I still remember is, as part of Sky, I think this is the first thing that everybody learns when they are inducted into the Sky system. That is to not harm oneself and not harm others. So that is one thing that probably changed my life. So that has been the guiding principle all along. So my spiritual experience was based on this one principle that to not harm self as well as not harm others. So I'm going to talk about how I got into this and how it has benefited me as an individual as well as my family and my friends, and ultimately the work and society. Again, this is not a session where I have slides or anything to share, so people can interrupt whether there's a chat or whatever, however way you want to, and make it more an interactive session. So I'm here to just share my experience and how this system has benefited me, my family, and my friends. And that's what I'm going to share. And anyone who wants to interrupt or ask a question, please go ahead and do that. Again, we all learn about various things. Every week, Sean sir has a session here where a subject matter expert comes in and talks about a lot of things. But how do we take this and apply it into our life? So I'm going to give one example of one such individual, that is myself, how I got into this and how I applied this and how I've benefited. And hopefully this will help some of you on this session. So I was talking about this principle based on which I started practicing Sky. As part of Sky, many of you are familiar with the simple Sky exercises and meditation, right? And along with this, what Professor introduced me was something called acupressure. If you folks are following Vetha and have attended many of the sessions, Professor is a very familiar person, Professor Ravindran, and he introduced me to acupressure. So a combination of Sky exercises, meditation, and acupressure, and I happen to follow yoga as well, yoga and all limbs of yoga, whether it is asana, pranayama, dhyana, and dharana, right? All limbs of yoga. It's a combination of things that I've been practicing since 2010, and that has had a significant and deep impact on me as an individual and the actions or the kind of work I do, the kind of communication or language or speech, right? So it has impacted in many ways, right? So I'm going to talk about the personal changes that have happened before I talk about family and work and then finally society, right? So by following these practices, one, I've been healthy myself, right? And I'm not saying this to self-proclaim that I'm great or anything, but just to show you the impact that these practices can have on oneself. So I've not taken medication since 2010. So I've not been to a doctor for an ailment since 2010. Yes, 10 years of practice. So I've been practicing since 2010, as I said, and that is the kind of impact that this practice has had on me as an individual, right? And before we can talk to anyone about anything that you learned, one thing that Professor and Premaji have taught me is to apply it on oneself. That is when we can say it with conviction and authority that this works. So before we apply it on anyone, the self-application is very important. So once you apply it on oneself, then you will be able to share your experience with authority and conviction, and then you can try it on your friends and family members. So that's the first and foremost thing that I applied on myself. And I can today say with conviction that this works because I am a living example of that. right? So, so that's the first thing, foremost thing that I wanted to share with each one of you. Right? The second thing I wanted to say how it has impacted my family uh, is again, so when you are not into spirituality, so you are indulged in your day-to-day activities, right? Work is one thing that we all focus on so much that we ignore our friends and family members, and we are hung up and we are driven behind this work. Sean sir always keeps saying, don't get driven by the corporate culture. Do what is important to you. Do what makes sense to you, to your family and friends. Right. So that's another change that I would like to say. Even though I was not ignoring work, but at the same time, my affinity towards my family has changed. The arguments have reduced significantly, I would say, and some of you people who know me and my family probably can vouch to that. All right. So you've got to see once you follow these practices, what changes happen within oneself, and then what changes can happen within the family, right? So the you when your kids see what you follow, your wife or spouse sees what you follow, even though they're not directly, you're not forcing them to do anything directly. Indirectly, they all start to see the changes in you, and they kind of adjust to your frequency, right? So that's how things get harmonized and things fall into place. So you're not enforcing anything. You are just practicing and apply it to themselves, and people watch, and they just fall into it develops that harmony without enforcing anything. So that's the family change that has happened. So there's more harmony, less argument, less fighting, and that kind of attracts, right, more friends and family with similar frequencies, right? So that way the sky system has given me a lot of friends, and this acupressure has given me a lot of friends, and slowly they start following this, and they apply it, and they get benefited, and they start sharing, right? So that's the family aspect or the family impact. And the kids, I understand it's a little hard here, given that they spend some time at home, but a lot more time at school and with their friends. And it is that I'm still working on, and I'm still trying to understand how the kids think and behave, and how to work with them or how to live with them harmony, right? So the kids has been a challenge. So I'm not an expert there, but I'm still working towards. And the impact at work. Um, so I was leading a complex healthcare project. Many of you are familiar, healthcare.gov. It was a very visible project, very stressful, but we were able to successfully deliver it in spite of all the pressure and the kind of people that we kind of were able to put together. So they all come with a similar purpose, similar mission. So what you are doing on yourself, you start attracting the kind of people that want to work with you, the kind of want to make you successful, work as a team. So that is the impact that I've had at work. And fortunately, we have been very successful at work. And this program for public, that people who did not have insurance, we can say proudly that there are several millions in this country now that they have insurance and they can afford healthcare. I'm not saying I'm promoting insurance companies, but I've not personally used much of my insurance for the last 10 years. But not having an insurance for the people who really need help is a big problem in this country. And if you have experience, if you have relatives that have experienced this, you probably know what I'm talking. So that is the impact at work. And finally, I'll come to the society. So Professor has this foundation called Yantra. So in association with Yantra, we started something called Sanatha in US. So Sanatha has been in existence for about 4 years now. So we used to host Professor Ravindran here in this country and spread this message of sky and acupressure, right, in every city or as many cities as possible. And initially, when we had to do it, we had to find a sponsor, and we had to raise funds to host Professor. And hosting him at schools or auditoriums were expensive. We started slowly, and finally we ended up creating this organization called Sanatha, using which we were able to raise some small funds with the help of good Samaritans like you all. And finally, Sanatha is able to host Professor every year successfully. And then we work with volunteers across the country and organizations like Vetha to host Professor and have programs that are benefiting a lot of people. So that is how I have personally been able to contribute to society, helping individuals to understand what their body can do to oneself and how they can use their body and their practices to heal themselves, right? So that is the contribution towards society in a small way that we all can do, right? By following simple things and by healing ourselves and helping our family members and our friends heal and live better lives. So again, I just wanted to pause here and see if any of you have any questions or you want to, or Sean sir, is there anything else you wanted me to talk about?
Any questions? You can raise your hands, I'll unmute.
Okay, there are no questions. Then
No,
I would like to just.
We can have I will have a question for you.
Okay, Sean.
So what do you think, like, why do you think the kids is difficult to, you know, communicate with the kids? Do we have problems? Do you think that generally we have a communication problem overall when we just moved from one part to another? Do we have a communication problem, and do you think that there is a requirement, there is an education requirement to fill the gap? Or what is the overall thing? Is it globally going that way? Is it global? This problem of communicating with the kids, is that a global problem?
Communication is one thing, Shamsar, but I think the peer pressure and the kind of association that the kids have at school, right, and that kind of plays a role into why they behave the way they behave and the way they act and the way they, I guess, treat and expect to be treated. Right. I think yes, communication definitely is a big factor, but I would say the peer pressure and the association at school and outside of home, I think that plays a big role, in my opinion.
Sure, definitely. I
So,
think the environment is a bigger factor. It's challenging for many parents,
yeah,
I think. And yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So somebody
Another,
wants to talk, or Vishwa wants to unmute. Give me a second. Maybe he has a question. Go ahead, please. Yeah, just unmute Vishwa.
I think it's still muted, Sean, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute Vishwa. I don't see Vishwa to everyone. I don't see Vishwa in this, but I see in the chat button, but he's not available in the other part. He's in the first one. Okay. All right. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, he mentioned two items. One is acupressure and another is sky. What is that? The first I didn't hear the properly the name.
The sky is a simplified Kundalini yoga that,
Simplified Kundalini yoga. Okay.
yeah, that Professor, Vedadri Maharshi started that organization. And we have several sky centers in US and all over the world. I think there is one in New Jersey. I don't know where you are from, Vishwa.
I'm
But,
from Maryland, Ellicott City.
okay, yeah, I think right now I do not know if in Maryland if we have a sky center, but there's one in Virginia for fact, and then in Maryland I know somebody in Gaithersburg was trying to start one, or maybe has started one. If you're interested, we can share that information with you.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I started doing meditation from past 1 year, but it's not like with one of the guru, and later I started, but I was not doing regularly. But maybe past 1 week, 10 days, because I wanted to grow my career in something else. So because of that, I started, because that I wanted to make that into my lifestyle, so that I can, I need more energy to learn something else. And I'm doing it, but it's only, I started doing regularly. It's a 10 days ago, but normally people will tell it needs some time at least to do like more effects to get maybe minimum like 2 to 3 months. I'm hearing. So, what is your answer for the? It's not like an answer. What is your suggestion? Because you are already expert.
I'm not an expert. I want to clarify that I'm a student of nature. I'm learning every day, every moment, right? But I
But
can
you're already,
share,
yeah.
yeah, I can share my thoughts, right? Sure.
Because you are
So,
already senior, because that's why they can give some guidance, right? So that's what I want to know
yeah,
from
yeah,
whoever has already experienced.
I will let Dr. Sean answer that later, but I'll just share my thoughts with you. I did my master's 2 years, last 2.5 years, right? So I encountered something similar. Like, yes, it takes a lot of time when you're working, when you're studying, and you have a family, right? It all takes time. But what we ask is give yourself 30 minutes every day. And any time during the day, if you give yourself 30 minutes, the rest 23 and a half hours will go according to your will, right? So that's what we ask everybody follow, and we try to practice that ourselves. But I will let Dr. Sean answer, and I think he can provide his thoughts for addressing your situation.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think, see, there are layers. You can differentiate people by what you call sheath or layers, or we call kosham, Annamaya kosha. So Annamaya kosha is nothing but people, you have food, you I mean, we have seen people in the streets, they eat food, sleep, wake up, next day, they do the regular thing, but they don't have higher intentions of life. That's enough for them and they die at the end. So this is called Annamaya Gosha, that level of living is called. Only with food, the necessity, the need of the hour. Then the next level is Manomaya Gosha. So Manomaya Gosha is people who are a little more interested in learning music, art form, dance, right? All these are a higher level education, etc. It's a Manomaya Gosha. This is only second level. A little bit more would be knowing about the energy. Whether today I woke up, how is my energy level? Am I getting tired? Am I, after I ate the food, am I feeling something? Is the food making difference? If I eat in a restaurant versus eating in my family, does this food energy level makes a difference? Sensing that energy. And as you start to sense these energy, that means that is the time you're talking about any kind of meditation. As of now, what you're looking at, the education in meditation or other knowing knowledge is a Manomaya Gosha only. But in order from you to move from the Manomaya Gosha to experience level of Pranamaya Gosha, the next level, you slightly start to observe breath, and wherever you're sitting, start to see yourself, then others. Suppose you are going in a train. What would you actually do? Maybe you'll have an iPhone in front of you and you'll be looking at the Facebook page or something, or maybe you'll be watching something, somebody else, and your imagination goes, based on what you saw. This is usually what you do. But instead, start to observe yourself. What's your thought? Where does your thought go? This is the beginning. Once you start to do this, usually you'll know at some point that energy matters. Some days are good, some days are bad. All these are based on energies. So you need to understand that. Give me a second, please. Okay. So you need to understand that the energies are the important part of the first level of understanding or learning thing. That doesn't come from outside, but it's yourself. You yourself have to go in that way. That's the level of thinking, you can work on, and then later on you can find an organization. Definitely any organization will definitely be helpful, but at the same time, at certain point, even you go beyond organizations. Organizations also, there'll be limitations because you will see the same guru every time and you ask all the questions possible and then you are left alone. So that's the higher level. So so it depends on you how you wanted to take this, but there is definitely somewhere to start. You can start at any level, physical level, yoga or something like that. Even online, it is okay. You can make mistakes. Mistakes are fine. Same time, you can learn later on. You can find the right kind of, it'll automatically happen. So there is nothing to really worry about doing something online or learning something. That is absolutely fine, but then you can later on even fix that. But right now, you can start somewhere. That's what I can say. You want to share?
I was just sharing
Okay.
the different body types
Koshas.
you just mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the physical, the astral, and the biomagnetic.
Wonderful.
So these are the different the types that Dr. Sean was talking about.
Mhm.
So in general, if there are no questions, I can show you a slide on fundamentals of healing, right? So all these things constitutes, right, on how you are feeling, right? So Dr. Sean can probably talk more about the nature of your body, right? Because in Ayurveda, there is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, based on the nature of your body, they suggest healing, right? So, but in acupressure, what we try to do is first, based on the nature of your body, we try to reduce the body heat and then purify the blood, right? And then suggest healthy eating habits, right? And then so you expel the toxins from your body and mind. So the body, Sean was talking about the type of food you eat and how that will have an effect, right? And the mind is where the practice of whether it is yogasana or simplified exercises or meditation, right? So this is where you're not only expelling toxins from your body, but also from your mind, right? And you strengthen your body by doing physical exercise, yoga, and pranayama, right? And then you do acupressure or you follow acupressure techniques to energize your body, right? And then placebo and nocebo. Again, I know Dr. Sean can talk for hours on just this one topic. Placebo is the belief that you have, right, that heals your body. The nocebo is the fear, right, that has an impact on your body, which actually introduces the ailment in your body, right? So these are some of the fundamentals, and then we conduct workshops on healing and wellness, where we talk about all these things in detail. Like, but in general, as I said, if you spend 30 minutes on diagnosing yourself using acupressure, and then energizing yourself using acupressure, and then follow whatever you want to follow, whether it's physical exercise, yoga, and pranayama, that helps you in physically strengthening your body, your organs, right, and cleansing yourself. And there are Ayurvedic herbs that we suggest where you can use to nullify your or reduce your heat and purify your blood, right? And also by eating healthy food, organic, and reduce the meat portions, right? You can allow your body to help you heal yourself. Yeah. Again, I'll just pause here and then see if there's anything else that anybody wants to talk about. If nobody has any questions, then I can share another slide where people who are not familiar with acupressure. I can probably just share what is acupressure, and I'll share the chart if it is here, right? So can you folks see the screen? So acupressure, right, we say we educate people on the different energy points within your palm, using which you can energize as well as diagnose ailment, right? So I know this is a short discussion that we are having today, This is more like an introduction or for folks who are not familiar with acupressure. So these are acupressure points that using which we diagnose as well as heal. And again, it's not like somebody has to do it for you. You can do it on yourself and heal yourself. You can diagnose by using these pressure points on your palms and also heal yourself. So in Vora's technique, there are 32 acupressure points using, 38 rather, using which we diagnose and heal. So this is just a picture depicting all the 38 points. And each point is linked or tied to a specific part or organ within your body. If you look at the thumb region, right, that's where your brain and the head, right, and if you follow along the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so slowly you can see the different organs that your palm is mapped to, right, and then all the way to the 38, right? So the eyes, the ears, right, the energy points, right, and what are the areas that you can apply pressure on if you have cold, whether it's your thyroid, thymus, lungs, right? So this is a mapping of your entire body in your palm. And this is the technique that we follow in diagnosing as well as healing. And there are some books that if you folks want to educate yourself, and this is available on Amazon. And again, we don't have any affiliation with any of these book vendors. This is something that Dr. Devendra Ora, who is no more, had published many years ago. And this is the guide or a principle or the book that we recommend or suggest. And this will kind of help you understand what your body composition is and what the different acupressure points are and what are some of the simple techniques to heal common day-to-day problems like cold, fever, stomach issues, right, things like that. And here are some tools that you can also use to apply pressure. So this is a Sujok ring. These are like hand rollers. So instead of applying pressure on each point, you can simply apply pressure on the fingers using this Sujok ring, and you can apply pressure to the entire palm using the rollers, the hand rollers. Similarly, you have one for foot where you can massage the entire foot. So whatever pressure points you see on your palms are also available, or same pressure points are also on your feet. So using a foot roller, you are applying pressure on your feet as well, right? So you get the books, and there are some herbs you get on one botanicals. Again, these are like suggestions. We don't have any affiliation with any of these vendors, but this is where you get some of the tools of acupressure and some of the herbs that we use for cleansing and healing. So I think there's a question, when do you practice? Do you practice in the morning? So there is no specific time for practice. You can practice anytime. The only suggestion we have is to practice in an empty stomach. So when you wake up is a very good time, and before you go to bed is another good time that we suggest. Even if you want to do it before lunch, if you have time, yes, you can apply these acupressure, like you can apply pressure on palm or foot. And whenever you have any ailment, if you're trying to heal, then also you can apply. we normally suggest 3 times for maintenance. But if you have pain and if you want to overcome pain, like for back pain or knee pain, then you can apply pressure when you have when you experience pain also. Yeah, on the slide deck, can you forward the slides? I will share a version, a PDF version with Dr. Sean, and Dr. Sean can disseminate whatever is appropriate.
Yeah, you could. I think she's looking for the chart, the
hand chart,
acupressure. You just send it to me, so it's easy to do it in the WhatsApp group. So just the acupressure point.
I'll share the hand chart.
Okay.
Yes. So does doing claps with hands heal any part of the body? Yes. So again, when you're clapping, for example, when you're when you were kids or when you were doing bhajans, right, or when you're chanting, unknowingly when you're clapping, you start feeling better, right? So that is because of the principle behind it. These pressures are activated, and it makes you feel better. I mean, there is a mental feeling that you have that happens because of your devotion, or you're lost in that activity that you're doing. You are not worried about your past or future, right? You are in that moment, and that is why you are feeling better. But clapping hands does help unknowingly. Yeah, but it does help.
Mm-hmm. Well, adding to your thing, adding to the clapping thing, we have one technique called pedalagin technique. Everywhere you hit every part, all the different joints, very hard. They hit very hard, and because that can trigger, all the marma points, joint point, all the pains will go away. There is a special exercise just for clapping and all these things. So the people are doing it already. Chinese. So it's big time. It's practiced all over. Yes, we had a speaker earlier. Once we had a workshop with him. Who came was Pedaligin's direct disciple. I think his name was Chen or somebody. Dr. Abhinav, if he's here, he knows. We had a workshop with him. So yeah, it definitely works because of the marma points. Okay, you go with the next question.
I think so. Is there a specific pressure for low BP? There is a mudra for BP, right? I think I can probably look it up and share what that specific mudra is. But in terms of pressure points, again, you got to go to the root cause of why it is happening, right? Because we don't treat the symptom when we are trying to treat or heal. We try to get to the root cause, understand what is causing the BP, and address that. So if you start treating symptoms, then it's like popping a pill, right? You try to take a pill and you expect to see benefit. But that's not what we suggest or propose or recommend. What we try to do is ask what is causing this and try to address the root cause of it. And because you are addressing it once for all, because if you keep addressing the symptoms, it will go away and then will come back again, right? So it's not a healing, it is a temporary fix, if you want to call that.
Okay. How much time? Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We can have some announcements. Otherwise, okay. All right. So I have some announcements. We do regularly run Siddha-Vetha webinars It's every Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be Dr. Anbu Ganapati, who's supposed to be this week. He was traveling, and so next week he will be Dr. Anbu Ganapati on geriatrics, which is for elderly people in Siddha tradition. Then the following after that, we will have a nutrition theory. There's an expert. She will be talking. She has a PhD in that area on ancient, wisdom. So the generally we do have a lot of programs going on in Virginia area. We had a lot of workshops. You can come and attend. There are so many free workshops. We had run like Siddha camp and all these things. So look, join our Siddha-Vetha, one of the WhatsApp groups. We have several WhatsApp groups. So you can Siddha-Vetha community, you will get it. But we run into hundreds of WhatsApp groups where different groups, are interested in different things. But one of the thing is Siddha-Vetha, Siddha, Siddha hyphen Vetha, Vetha community. So you can join that if you like. So we have programs. Siddha-Vetha has online program. We have a diploma in holistic integrated medicine already taking place. It's running, and you can join anytime because its video recordings are also available. So it's just 1 month has passed. We just started with one of the course, and we will be running parallel sessions, parallel courses. And each courses, if you want a specific course, you can take. Many of the courses are available online. We also have a Facebook page, Siddha-Vetha, and we also have a channel, Siddha-Vetha channel, YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to Siddha-Vetha channel. There are a lot of videos already. Many speakers, we are recording this, and many others in the past. We had very wonderful speakers, and you can just connect with us every Wednesday. You can learn a lot just through attending the webinars, and then you'll have updates on where the events will take place. So right now, the Albany, we will be having an event in the Albany area. If you're in Albany area, we are planning on the 27th, the end of the month, 28th, 27th, that weekend. And then in Atlanta, depending on the coronavirus, so the travel plans, it's supposed to be on the 21st, that weekend. But travel plans, because of that, it may change. We may have 1 or 2 programs in Virginia in between. Mostly we'll have in Lotus Temple in Virginia. So if you're interested, you can join our programs. And if you wanted to do a personal session, that's also available. It's called Personalized Lifestyle Management. And then if you want to individually learn or having specific problems, chronic problems to ordinary problems, psychological, we deal with many things every day. So I suggest all of you to continuously support us. We'll be having a lot of events. We are planning to have a youth career accelerator program for the youth. That's why I was talking to Jagdish about, do we need a language to speak to youngsters? Yes, I think it is tough, but still we can prepare some of the youngsters. If you have 11th, 12th grade, they are ready to join until college. If they're these kids, first year, second year, freshmen, they are very good fit into this youth career accelerator program. It's an online. We shape them. We know their language, and it'll go inside, and later on you will not lose your kid. That's what I can say. You know what losing means. Losing a kid is like they're off. Whatever you say, they will not be listening after some time. You're talking about your own history. They won't know what it means. So to that extent, you can put something, a software inside them that works. It's a code and that will work. And later on, you will not lose them. Maybe in between, it looks like they will have the challenges, and then later on they will come back because this is ingrained in them. So that we can do. It's called the Youth Career Accelerator Program. So watch out for that. We'll pretty much have 1 or 2 programs pretty soon. Maybe one in this month itself, in the coming weeks and weekends. Okay. So thank you all. You have anything to say? Jagdish?
Thank you, Swam, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks to everyone for listening and engaging in a conversation. Hopefully, it was helpful. Sean, sir, I did share that hand chart with you on WhatsApp.
Okay, I'll share.
You can share it with folks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all again. Be blessed.
Thank you. See you next week.